Okay, welcome back. I think we're missing a few people that will arrive shortly. Just to remind everybody that you're all cordially invited to stay this evening for a little bit to join the welcome reception for the BIA conference. Whether you're attending the conference or not, it doesn't matter, you're all invited. That reception is going to be literally where you just had your tea and coffee and the area out and that area. So you don't have to go very far. You could just stay here and catch up with some emails while we wait for the reception to start. So please do join us. There'll be other people coming from the to the welcome reception who are attending the conference tomorrow. So I think there'll be an opportunity not only to meet and continue discussions with all of yourselves, but there should be some new people to meet as well. So hopefully that's fine. I'm just going to just keep talking for a little bit while I find the rest of the people. So hopefully soon. So I hope you've had a good day so far and it's been informative. It's always difficult when you try to put these agendas together to make sure you cover things that are relevant to everybody, but I think we've had quite a wide range of subjects, so I'm hoping that it's been of benefit for you to take away. I hope it's been a benefit enough for you to want to come back and come to further meetings. Obviously, we will be planning that, and I'll talk a bit about the next arrangements when we come on to that point in the agenda. I've got a few more coming in. So the last person in gets a round of applause, okay? That's always a good way. And it'll probably be Leo. Oh, no. Okay, so let's move on. As I mentioned before we went for the break, one of the standing items we have on these meetings is to actually have the opportunity just to exchange developments that are happening that you would like to share. And there is no obligation for you to share, but if you'd like to share any particular developments that you, just for information, if you would like to share something where you're looking for possibly some support from other countries who may have gone through similar situations. Very early on in these meetings, we found it very useful, and I think a lot of regulators and a lot of industry found it useful to understand that other countries are actually possibly experiencing similar issues or have been through similar issues, and therefore there's some learnings there that could possibly be shared, bearing in mind obviously each country has its own different sort of social and demographic background. So this is the opportunity really for you to do that. And normally we're in a round table boardroom scenario, so it may be easier to do that. But as I mentioned, because of the size, we weren't able to do that today. So it would be good if you want to share something. If not, we're finishing a lot earlier than I thought, which would be a little bit difficult. But round of applause for Ingrid. No, that's not a thank you. That's a sarcastic for being the last one in. So I don't know whether anybody wishes to share some recent updates, if there's anything that are going on. Don't be shy. Oh, thank you. That's great.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm from China, the Credit Reference Center of People's Bank of China. We are a public credit registry. It's delighted to update our service in promoting inclusive finance since last year. The first one is CCRC introduced SME credit score to financial institutions. This scoring model uses the credit information of SMEs and their owner from the credit reporting system of CCRC. A higher score indicates a lower probability of future default and lower credit risk. CCRC SME credit score incorporates 6 attributes, namely repayment history, debt situation, credit application, associated liability, credit portfolio, and the credit history. The second one is we launched the SME cash flow credit information interchange platform. This platform is organized by the People's Bank of China, the Central Bank of China, with the joint participation of financial institutions. This platform aims to facilitate SMEs access to finance by promoting the sharing of their bank cash flow data based on the principles of opening banking data sharing, real-time interaction, and on-demand access. By the end of April of 2024. Financial situation made over 500,000 inquiries on the platform. That's what we did improving credit reporting services for SMEs. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. That's good to know. Thank you. So I'm sure SME scoring is on everybody's agenda in terms of financial inclusion. So it's very interesting to know. So is that I presume that SME score is being used by banks and other lenders, obviously, and they get that when they draw a report from CRC. Is that correct? Yeah. Interesting. And thank you for translating that. I know it's always sometimes difficult to move from Chinese to English, so I appreciate you spending the time and doing that. Thank you very much. It's very useful. Anybody else involved in SME scoring or whatever? But we can go wherever we need to go, so please.
Okay, I'm not involved in SME scoring, but I would like to share other things.
Please do,
okay.
Please do.
My name is Alan Au. I'm from the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. I'm responsible for banking conduct, including consumer protection, financial inclusion, and investor protection. And credit reporting is also under the purview of my department. And it's my first time coming to the meeting of ICCR RCG, and so I'm very glad to be here. And one of the things that my colleagues have in the past shared about is the conversion from the single CRA model into a multiple CRA model. And I'm glad to report to every one of you that we have now completed the exercise. Last year, in April, we have completed the pilot test for the reports sent to the public. And in November last year, we have also completed all the migration testing. And so the migration has been formally completed in November last year. So there are now 2 CRAs serving the credit providers in Hong Kong regarding the personal credit reports. The key takeaway that I would like to share, probably many of you has been with the multiple CRA model for a long period of time. But for us, converting from a single CRA to a multiple CRA model is that it did spend a lot of time and effort in terms of all the testing, in terms of all the developments at the credit providers as well as at the bank and the CRA level. So this was a very time-consuming and effort-taking exercise, but we are glad that we have now completed that. And the second thing that I would like to share is I would like to appreciate very much the sharing by our colleagues in Korea and Cambodia regarding the cross-boundary credit data referencing. And we are also seeing demands in this in the context of the greater economic integration between Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area in mainland China. And there are some demands regarding cross-boundary loans from SME, and we are also experimenting pilots transactions regarding cross-boundary transfer of data, which will support the SME in borrowing on this basis, so that the credit providers can also have a better assessment of the credit worthiness of the SMEs. This is what I want to share. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, and it's great for you to join us for the first time, and I hope we've done enough to make you think about coming back. But Just to explain a little bit, I think I'm not sure everybody's aware of the changes in the Hong Kong model. Obviously, this is where, if I'm right, please correct me wrong. This is where obviously I think the Banking Association has created a hub where all of the lenders put data into that, and then that data is then drawn out by the bureaus. And I use the plural bureaus because there's obviously more than one bureau now. I think there's two, is there now at the moment?
Yes, you have actually very accurately presented what is happening in Hong Kong. We now have a hub that the credit providers, including the banks and the non-bank money lenders, will contribute the data to that hub. And the CRAs, there are now two. They can download the data from that hub for the production of the credit reports. And the main reason of doing this is first is to avoid a single point of failure. And the second reason is to instill more competition in the market so that there will be more value-added services and more incentives for the CRAs to provide better service to the banking and the non-bank lending industry.
Yeah, competition is good. That's very good. Thank you. I'm glad I've got it right. So it's very useful. Thank you. I think it's a good example, and maybe at some future meeting we might want to explore that a little bit more and have a update as well on how it's going. But I think all of us, as you say, that have been involved in multi-bureau platforms know how much effort it takes to do that. But it's good that you're getting that consistent data in now, and as you say, hopefully the two bureaus and maybe more will innovate and move and help support the financial services and access to credit. So congratulations on that. Well done. Any other updates? JP? And then we'll go to our friend from Bank Nagara. I think it was right behind you. Yeah. So JP first.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hello, everyone. I'm JP Sharma from Reserve Bank of India. I'll just discuss with you what we have done in about last 2 years. One of the major issues which we have been facing, like everybody else, is data accuracy. India being a large country, number of borrowers is too high, and the complaints also are quite high. Just to give you an idea, number of complaints used to be about 500,000 complaints in a year or more than that. Now, inquiries were 1.2 billions or 3 billions. Out of that, 500 or 600,000 complaints. I mean, it's quite understandable. But then, this being a social media era, a lot of hue and cry is made. Some VIP gets a complaint, then the issue comes up about the credibility of the system. It's not just about the complaint. Then if you get a lot of complaints, then the credibility of the system gets eroded. Then ultimately, the trust in the system, then trust in the credit report of the borrower, that's not really trustworthy then. So that's why we thought that we should take some action on that. We started about 2 years ago. We took a number of steps. The major one among them was that we said that if a complaint regarding data inaccuracy is not corrected within 30 days of the complaint, then the CIC or the reporting entity, whoever takes longer time, must pay a compensation to the complainant. I mean, the amount was not very high. It was just about $1.50 per day. I mean, not very high, but then number of complaints being too high, the overall amount, that's quite substantial. So that was introduced about 1.5 years. We'll do a assessment of that, how it is working, then we'll see what we should do. Other than that, we took a few more steps, like sending email or SMS alerts to the customers whenever their CIR is downloaded, or a nodal officer should be there in each of the reporting entities, because we have about 12,000 reporting entities who have to report to 4 credit bureaus. They have to report to all the 4 because otherwise there is a credit asymmetry. The data must be sent, same data must be sent to all the 4 bureaus. So there was an issue. So out of these 12,000 reporting entities, we have all sorts of banks, I mean, multinational banks and very small unit banks also. So in larger banks, there was no fixed point of contact. So one branch used to submit the data, then somebody else would be there. Nobody knew who was doing what. So that was another step which we took. And one major thing that we did was we reduced the periodicity of submission of data from monthly to fortnightly. It started from this January, I'm sorry. The time for ingestion of data, that was also reduced from 7 days to 5 days. So now the credit updation, that happens about 20 days time, because every fortnight the reporting entity has to submit it, and then within 5 days they have. So every 20 days it gets updated. Earlier it used to take about 1.5 months, 2 months. So that has been more than halved. These were some of the steps which we took. We are also considering a few more things to do in the coming months. One is that we want to further reduce the periodicity. We want to bring it down to weekly. I mean, from fortnightly to weekly. We are talking with some of the reporting institutions. Larger ones and very small ones, they are fine with reducing, but ones in the middle, they somehow they are showing some hesitation. But then we'll talk with them, and then let's see what we can do. But we want to bring it down to weekly, if not daily. I mean, daily seems to be a bit ambitious, but I think weekly we can push. Weekly should be okay. Probably from next year we'll try to do it. That was first. The second thing which Mayur was talking about, the unique identifier. He was talking about one girl in India getting married and changing her name, and then still getting the credit. So there are issues. I mean, it's ultimately it's about search and match logic. People are submitting multiple IDs. So how do you how does your algorithm works? So if you have a unique ID, then it helps. So we are thinking of introducing one unique ID. I mean, we have one unique ID, but as of now, population in the data fields, that's not very high. So we want to push it. Once it is there, then we'll make it mandatory. Also, like I said, 12,000 entities have to report to 4 CICs or bureaus. Same data has to be reported to all 4. But unfortunately, the 4 bureaus, they have different validation rules and different data encryption standards. So that creates a lot of asymmetry. So we are thinking that probably we should ask them to standardize. If they can, yeah. No, I understand that, but if it can be worked, then it solves a lot of issues. So I mean, we are thinking about that. Let's see how it goes. So these were the few things which I wanted to share with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, JP. That's very useful. Thank you. And what's the rationale for? Is it just the fact that credit is shorter term and revolving quicker to move this reporting from monthly to weekly to daily? Yeah. Okay.
Right now, credit to corporate sector and infrastructure and all that is slightly slower moving as compared to microfinance and personal loans.
Yeah. No, I think the as we mentioned earlier, the topic of buy now, pay later, or microfinance, and the speed and velocity of which and volume of inquiries and accounts means that it is quite important to look at that.
And also corporate loans and infrastructure loans and all. I mean, they are longer tenor, whereas personal loans and microfinance will be typically 2 to 3 years. And people tend to take multiple loans, especially in microfinance. So there is an issue of over indebtedness, number of lenders lending to the same borrower. So those kind of issues are there. So that's what we thought, probably it will help.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think there's plenty of examples in history where if there was data sharing, there wouldn't have been some of the systemic risks. I think the credit card situation started in Thailand, I think, was a classic where the data wasn't shared, which spurred the credit bureau on. So nobody wants to go through that again, that's for sure.
In my view is that daily reporting is more an issue of logistics, operational issue. At a concept level, it's a very good thing. If we can do it, nothing like that. Only issue is its operational difficulties will be there. If we can sort those things out, then it should be good.
I think, as I mentioned earlier, some buy now, pay later is certainly something ICCR has been investigating. And as you know, because you've been at some of the plenary meetings alongside myself, but I do think it's something to re-raise. And when we meet again in Cape Town, hopefully, maybe we should jointly talk about it, because I think it is something that needs to be. There needs to be some fresh guidance on specific guidance, probably on it to ensure there isn't these bubbles occurring, which could be dangerous. So thank you for that. It's very useful. Thank you very much. Data quality is also useful as well. Appreciate that. So, anybody else? Oh, sorry, I'm our friend from Bangalore. I forgot you. Apologies. And then I'll go to Song.
Hi, thank you. I'm Hari from Central Bank of Malaysia. Just some updates in the past 6 months, probably affecting the industry. I think the first is, after a long time it works, I think the Consumer Credit Bill was finally tabled at Parliament in March of 2025. I think there's still some way to go before the act is passed, but at least it's through the first step. And I think it's a timely step because currently I think regulation isn't standardized for a lot of the consumer credit, comes under different ministries and whatnot. And there are also some new ones that isn't cleanly regulated or falling under any existing regulation. This includes buy now, pay later, which has been mentioned. I think of also relevant for the industry is during consultation. I think the task force driving this did mention that there will be a requirement to mandate reporting of information, although the exact modality hasn't been confirmed, whether it's through credit registry or credit bureau, but they are thinking of mandating this to reduce silos. And there are some consultations also probably will be happening on what type of modality this should be, whether it's through separate bureaus or through credit bureaus. So I guess if any of the industry members are participating in that consultation, please feel free to share your feedback to the task force. It's the Consumer Credit Oversight Task Force that's driving this. And I guess the second update would be on open finance. Also, I think Malaysia is still progressing towards it, unlike some regions which already has it. And for those who are not that familiar, I think in Malaysia, we have PayNet, which is our payments network operator. They're actually driving in terms of the platform preparation, technical data specification required. And Bank Negara is coming in terms of, say, requirements for financial sector to participate in this. And I think in the last workshop that was held with the financial sector, it was said that they are currently envisaging a sort of the platform to be ready by mid of 2026, because there's still a lot of legwork that needs to happen. But they're having regular feedback and consultations. And from Bank Negara perspective, I think for the financial sector, sometime by mid of the year, there will be an exposure draft outlining the bank's expectations on financial sector players. Similarly, PayNet would be having a little bit more color on the technical and data specifications for the open finance. Right now, they're thinking of a phased approach. I think very minimal data first before expanding to include everybody else. But yeah, that's just some sharing from our side.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Very useful. Thank you. I think certainly it's there's a big debate sometimes about how do you get sort of buy now, pay later, or microfinance data into a credit bureau that traditionally has a model of a more infrequent payment and larger payment. So I know there have been some discussions about creating separate bureaus. I think they have to be careful about that, because obviously, to make sure that that data is available and you have that full picture. But I do understand the discussion, and sometimes it's easier to create a separate bureau for it than to try and get it into the current system. But my advice would be to certainly make sure it's linked anyway, so you don't lose it, which is fine. But thank you. So.
Yeah, my name is Hong-Jun Chun from Korea Credit Bureau. Let me update recent interest really from South Korea. So here it mentioned about the open finance, and actually the 2020 our Congress luckily changed the law to expand the credit bureau world. Actually, one of the agenda from the Korean government is to boosting the data economy by leveraging the all available data, learning from the credit data, but also non-financial data. But one of the pain points is that to combine credit data to other data, we have some legal background. So to solve this problem, our Congress changed the 3 laws. So credit information law and ICT information law, personal information protection altogether. Finally, we have a legal background to combine the credit data from other financial data or credit data from non-financial data or financial data with the non-financial data together based on consumer consent. So we call this is the My Data initiative. So we have a separate license scheme for the My Data business license by Korean regulator. And we set up some mobile website. Consumer go to the website to give some consent. You have my data from somewhere. So according to the GDPR, data portability is a core concept because I am the owner of the data. I can ask my data transfer somewhere for my own purpose. So to do that, after preparing the set up some mobile website and get a consent, now in the phase 1, the my data, we can have access to the not only for the credit data, but also deposit data, security data, asset data, also other financial data together. It could be very beneficial for the consumer credit evaluation, but also for the business and SME evaluation together, because we can have more data to evaluate the consumer and SME evaluation purpose. Now in Korea, we are moving on to phase 2. Phase 2 expand the data coverage from the financial world to the non-financial. So we're trying to gather more non-financial data, including the health data and public data together to further data owners' purpose and beneficial reasoning. So that is the current situation in Korea. And then I think so we are all from the same industry, and then we are moving to another world for the data big bang and all the confusion and then combination. So hopefully this kind of the trend could be beneficial to benchmark for other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have, we'll have John down here. Thank you. See, it's once one person starts, it just flows, doesn't it?
I'm Uwais Patel from Data Check, Credit Bureau of Pakistan. It's been 20 years we are operating. Recently, we are going in a same phase like the gentleman from India says, roughly around more than 5 million transaction per month in this category. Like it's either you can call it a nano loan or BNPL. The ticket size is almost around $50. And the tenure is shorter. Either it's a within a month's time period they have to pay back, and either 3 months. These are the few recent development has been done by the regulator. So they have tried to regularize all the area, because a lot of companies are coming in and they're investing too much money in this particular field. So we have pushed back our data reporting to monthly to weekly, and again, the regulator requirement is to get that data real time. This is what their requirement is, because there are a lot of fintech companies who are in this business, and one individual can take multiple loan. If the data reporting is not there, then definitely So this is what we have done so far, and definitely we'll be sitting together, and I'll be taking some benefit from the work what you have done and the industry like yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very useful. Thank you very much. We're on a roll here.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily, and I'm from the Credit and Data Bureau of PNG and Solomon Islands as well. It's a pleasure to be here today. I think I'll be speaking on behalf of PNG, but also specifically on PNG, but also on behalf of my Pacific Island brothers and sisters who are here today. We've got representatives from Solomon Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu. So it was a really good session today. The meeting today was really very sort of informative for most of us. Obviously, coming from a developing region, we aspire to do a lot of the stuff that that's being done in the Asia region. So it was really good insights, and for us in the Pacific, and more so, I think for PNG, and probably more so for the Pacific as well, is we're seeing the private sector sort of driving most of these changes around what the banks are doing today with AI. And it's not so much from the government side. So we're driving those changes within the country. The only thing we see the need for is changes to, regulations and legislations that will sort of support that the development in our country. So I think, for me, one of the recommendations would be, to have Pacific representative on this consultative group, and more so also on ICCR, that'll sort of improve the focus in that space in terms of driving the changes in that region. Because I think if we're trying to do it in the private sector and more so individually, it's quite difficult. And you would all understand the challenges it is especially with the developing countries. So having representatives in such consultative groups from our region would really help to drive some of those changes. And so what we're doing in Papua New Guinea at the moment in conjunction with IFC is focusing on comprehensive credit reporting. So we're trying to build that space, and obviously that's taken a couple of years, and Peter would know now, because of the need for regulators and also the legislative bodies to understand credit and the importance of it, and working with us to drive those changes, and implementing obviously comprehensive credit reporting, which will really, really help change the landscape of lending in the Pacific. Yeah, so that's sort of an update of what we're doing in PNG and also across the Pacific, and some of the challenges we're facing. But we appreciate the work that IFC and the likes have put into it, enhancing credit reporting in that space. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It is said Peter Sheeran had a full set of hair when he started, but too much. No, I think that's very, very useful feedback about Pacific Islands. And I do remember when we started the RCG, we kept calling it the Asia RCG, and we were politely reminded that there was a large contingent from the Pacific Islands. So we certainly jumped into Asia Pacific and will always be Asia Pacific. But I will take away with the Secretariat when I see them in later this month and talk about, what we can do. I know it's very disparate in a way. There's a lot of different countries there, but if there's some way we can, or you can work together to present a representative onto the ICCR, then I think it's very valid, because in pulling this together, we were very much aware of where you are versus where other people are, and want to make sure that we do help. And we have to recognize that not everybody's reducing reporting from 1 month to 7 days. Some people are just trying to get the reporting in place, full stop. So I understand that. So thank you very much for that. Good. Any other updates? Got one at the back from our friends at BSP, Philippines. You're doing very well. Thank you very much for your input.
Hello, good afternoon. So I'm Aizal again from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the Central Bank of the Philippines. So as you are all aware, we are also collecting credit information for our regulatory and supervision purposes. I know that a lot of the other discussions here focus on the data and data quality. So I just wanted to share that BSP, as part of our effort to standardize the data collection, we have introduced what we call a small business application loan form. So we have standardized the application of loans for small businesses. This is for the purpose of financial inclusion, so that it will be standardized regardless which institution you are applying the loan for. And this is also in terms of our data quality and to standardize the data being collected by the BSP. We have incentivized the institutions who will be early adopters, reducing their annual supervisory fees so that they will be incentivized to join the program. And coupled with this form, or this standardized form, is our framework on open finance. We have a regulatory sandbox that is composed of both the private and the BSP, and as well as other financial sector stakeholders. And they have an oversight committee. In fact, our friend here from IFC is helping on that committee. And one of the use case is the use of the small business loan application form in this open finance framework. So the envisioned product is that any SME can use this form and fill it up, and using the open finance framework, bring the form to another institution or another lender without even registering again. So it will make the lives of our SMEs easier in terms of loan application. So that's the initiative of the BSP in terms of standardization. And on our part, in terms of data quality, we acknowledge that a lot of there are issues really, and it is inevitable, I think, for all jurisdiction to have issues on data quality. And right now, our team in the BSP is trying to use some machine learning techniques in cleansing and in standardizing the data. And from our friends here or colleagues here in the private sector, if you have products or services that would be useful in data cleansing and detecting data quality, I would glad to have conversation with you, because we're really looking for a partner on that. And I think this is a good opportunity for a public and private partnership, especially the core of our conversations here rely on data quality. Thank you.
Thank you. Very useful. And the update on the SME standardizing loan application is a very, very interesting one, because obviously that creates an opportunity for SMEs to apply to more than one finance and makes it easier. So it's almost like a platform type development. So that's very interesting to hear. But yes, and I think your pitch for a supplier is duly noted. So I'm sure hopefully you'll get some response from here. So that's very useful. Thank you. Any other updates?
Yeah, just first of all, congratulations for the initiative. But we in Brazil, we work together. They share the database that they do have, and one of the topics that we address on a weekly basis is the quality of data. So we work together in way to sanitize both database. So it's good for them, it's good for us. So having good data is good for everybody. The second point we would like to share is that I don't know if the people are going to be on the next tomorrow's meeting, but in Brazil we introduced the self-regulation regulated. So we were able to talk with the regulator of personal data protection, and they said, you know what, if the credit bureaus would like to bring the best practices as an auto code of conduct, we are able to review and homologate that, and could be the practice. So we work very close with the regulators, and this is a good opportunity because we can provide them literacy about credit, because they don't know the specifics on credit. So we are now moving to have the self-regulation regulated.
Is that like a code of conduct then that you're looking on privacy data, or?
This is personal data. It's a data protection agency.
Okay, very interesting. That's a very forward-looking privacy regulator. I'm sure plenty of people in Europe would be very happy to hear that one. But it's okay. Good, thank you. Any other updates? Have I exhausted you all? Looks like I have. I've got to keep it going because I need to. Oh, good. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Ross.
Okay, so I'm Rob from Cambodia. Just to highlight two main updates from Cambodia. I think on the first one on the role of credit bureau in supporting the industry commitment. So I think in the last couple of years, I think the industry come together and then the concern of the household debt in Cambodia. That's why I think the bank and microfinance come together and then they introduce what we call a share-regulated mechanism, in which a couple of things in which they agree. Let's say, for example, they agree if the customer have loan with 3 institutions already, they won't top up loan anymore. If you are doing the refinance, let's say, they will classify the refinance whether it's in red zone, yellow zone, or green zone. If you are in red zone, they allow a certain percentage of threshold in which you can operate. If you are on the green zone, you feel free to go. And they also agree to upload information to the bureau more frequently. By regulation, is update 1 per month. But now they update on a weekly basis. So those are the commitment. But nowhere in which they can monitor that commitment, in which the role the credit bureau is coming and then monitoring that commitment. So every month, I think us as the credit bureau, we are developing a dashboard and then we send across to all the member bank microfinance, telling them this is your level of compliance toward your own lending guideline. So that is the thing in which the credit bureau can go far beyond in supporting the industry commitment. So that is number one. And then number two, in terms of the reason, I think discussion, since the credit bureau, we are cover only the credit data. And now there's a non-credit data is happening. Let's say, for example, pawn shop, insurance, and many other things. So they have been discussing how we can capture those information. We have discussed with industry. There is 3 modules happening. Where the option number 1 is to leverage the current credit bureau platform and then cover all of those information. That is number 1 option. Number 2, I think each entity, you set up your own bureau. Let's say, for example, telco bureau, insurance bureau, other bureau. That is number 2. And then number 3, for those non-banking, why don't you create a dedicated and then cover only the non-banking data? But regardless of option number 1, number 2, and number 3, there should be a consistent data flow within the banking and non-banking data. So those are the discussion, and then it's still very early to see the outcome from that second option. Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Ross. Very useful. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Jean from Experian. Just wanted to add on to a few points that I heard, because I heard BNPL, I heard self-regulation, so I thought I'll just add on a few pointers. So in Singapore, actually last year, 1.5 years ago, we have a BNPL Bureau, which is actually started because the regulators, MAS, did not want to regulate the BNPL sector as yet because it was growing. So instead of a regulatory approach, it then allowed the Singapore FinTech Association and the top leading players for BNPL to come together as a working group to develop a code of conduct which indicates the need for a BNPL bureau. So till now, it's still self-regulatory in nature, which is good, but they're closely monitoring the balances so that in case the balances grow to a significant level, they can decide if we need more safeguards or to join it into a main bureau. So I think I wanted to just add that. And I think the frequency contribution was also another item that was discussed in the setup of the BNPL bureau. Is it going to be daily, or monthly, or weekly? So I would say that from experience, it will be the fastest of the slowest player, right? So actually in the ideal world, given that many transactions happen per week, per month, it will be great to have at least a real-time bureau as what we used to have for like small ticket loans, like money lender loans. But in the absence of standardization in the tech stacks of all the players, sometimes we have to compromise, and it could be a longer frequency. So I think that's something to consider as well in terms of frequency for submission. And lastly, a call out. We have data quality solutions in Experian. So in case we need to connect, right? Yeah, we can talk later on. Okay, thank you.
Sold.
Thank you.
Good. Anybody else? Okay. I'm going to have to extend this long wind-up now until about 6 o'clock when the reception starts. No, I wouldn't do that to you. I can't be that unfair. So let's just move then to the final wrap-up session, if we may. I'm sure we'll get the next slide up in a minute, but it doesn't really matter. So thank you very much for participating today. Thank you very much for your input. The ICC, well, you are well aware from Colin's presentation and my many mentions that it's the RCG is a critical communication point for for the ICCR, and we are very committed to it. We will be even more committed to it, I think, if the strategy gets approved, that we're going to be discussing at the end of this month, and hopefully that will mean that there'll be more resources placed into it. But as BIA, we remain committed to supporting the RCG. We remain committed to linking it with our conference. I think that has benefit for attendees. I know a number of you are moving tomorrow to the conference with us, and that's great to see. And I hope that you benefit from that. And I think it's really good to have a conference which is made up not just of industry, but also regulators as well, because I think the regulators can learn a lot from what we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is going to be very much sort of IT orientated. So from our next meeting perspective, we will probably look to try and arrange the next full meeting in conjunction with our next conference. BIA conferences are now running annually, so we would be running the next one in conjunction with the conference, which will be held probably towards the end of June next year, to accommodate a few other people that we want to bring in, and we will look to send out the invites for that. In the meantime, it would be useful to have your feedback about whether there is any need or opportunity or desire to actually meet more frequently. We have been talking about this, and that's just a BIA initiative, just to make sure that we're engaged with the regulatory community more than once a year. We do have a senior leadership forum that we run in November. It's an annual event now. There may be the opportunity to possibly, for a small group, if you want to come to that. So just some feedback and just, an idea. So please, over drinks, maybe if you're staying with us, or over the conference the next couple of days, if you have some thoughts on frequency and would like to share those with Peter, Ingrid, or I, and we'd be very happy to hear those. But I do hope that you have found the event useful. As I mentioned at the beginning, we have been recording it. We will send a link to the recordings. We will send a link to the presentations. So you will have all of that information. Give us a few days to get that out to you, if you don't mind. We'll obviously also share some photos if we can. I know some of you have been asking about photos. So we'll try and get that out, because I know it's always good to go back and say, I was here, which is sometimes you're required to do that before you get back. Where have you been? I've been here. I can prove it. I was here. But we'll certainly make sure we get that out as soon as we can. But as I say, thank you very much for being so involved and so engaged and providing your input. And those of you who are going home from us, wish you safe travels, if it's locally or whether it's further afield. If you're staying with us, look forward to continuing the dialogue tomorrow and on Friday, which I think is going to be a very busy day, busy couple of days. I've got 38 speakers lined up to share their views with you. So lots of knowledge to come your way, and hopefully you benefit from that. So, and what's Peter mentioned to me? Oh, yes. Okay. And yes, that's a good point. If any of you do wish to receive the BIA regulatory newsletter, which is my publication, which we issue on a monthly basis, you're not already receiving it, please do let us know, and we'll add you to the database. So that's very much what we can do. And we can also very happy to add you to the BIA newsletter database as well. So there's a lot of resources there. And if you wish to join BIA, speak to Ingrid. So on that note, I will wrap up the call. Please do, if you can, stay around for a bit, because we would like to offer you a drink and something to eat as part of our welcome reception, which is going to be a little bit away now, 20 minutes, or if you're staying in the hotel, feel free to go and freshen up and come back. But please do take the opportunity to stay with us, because it would be good for you to meet the other members. And we have a particular celebration. It's our 20th year as BIA, as we've seen on all the logos. So I want to do a little bit of a sort of a thank you to a few people. So it'd be great if we could have a good audience for that. So thank you all very much from Peter, Ingrid and I. And I'll see you tomorrow, or no, see you later at 6. See you tomorrow, or if I'm not seeing you, safe journeys, and see you again hopefully within the year. Thank you very much.